4 years ago tonight, well, actually, it was 4 years ago last night. It was the 20th, but it was 4 years ago inaugural night. So functionally 4 years ago tonight. You could argue leap years or something, whatever. But 4 years ago, on the night of President Obama's inauguration, there was this small group of Republicans who got together in the Caucus Room restaurant and basically plotted treason. At least political treason. I mean, at the very least, you could call it political treason. And this is my keeper stack. This huge stack of papers here. And this group of Republicans basically came up with the idea that they were going to just destroy the Obama presidency. I mean, this is the when Mr. McTurtle said that his number one job was to make sure that the president was a one-term president. That's what they were doing. That's what these guys were doing. Is they were conspiring to destroy the presidency. And how do you do it? Well, you do it by blocking every single piece of legislation that comes down the road. And, they were all about this. Here we go. The guest list was Robert Draper wrote about this in his book, Do Not Ask What Good We Do Inside the U.S. House of Representatives, a book that is vastly undernoted. This was a 4-hour invitation-only meeting that had only two Republicans who were not elected officials. One was the Goebbels of the Republican Party, Frank Luntz, the propaganda master, and the other was the former head of the Republicans in the House, the last time they really controlled the House, Newt Gingrich. And but in addition to those two not elected Republicans were Congressman Paul Ryan, you know him as the head of the Budget Committee, the guy who said, let's turn Medicare into a voucher program, and who ran for vice president. He was rewarded for this effort by giving the vice president slot. Congressman Eric Cantor, the number 2 Republican in the House of Representatives, that guy who's always standing behind John Boehner with that little stiletto tickling Boehner's kidney. Representative Kevin McCarthy, the number 3 Republican in the House of Representatives, the guy who counts the votes and makes sure that the agenda is done. Congressman Pete Sessions from Texas, Congressman Jeb Hensarling from Texas, Congressman Pete Hoekstra, these are all Republicans from Michigan, Congressman Dan Lundgren from Michigan, and then 5 members of the United States Senate, Jim DeMint, who is now running the Heritage Foundation next door to us, making $1 million or $2 million bucks a year. Was it $1 million or $2 million? I forget how much, but he's making 7 figures. They pay these guys well when they've done their job. Jim DeMint, John Kyle, the Republican from Arizona, John McCain's colleague, Tom Coburn, Dr. No, the Republican from Oklahoma, John Ensing, the Republican ensign, the Republican from Nevada, who got caught up in the sex scandal and is no more a Republican from Nevada in any case, and Senator Bob Corker, the Republican from Tennessee. And these guys, they actually used a language. Well, here, this is Pete Sessions in talking to the National Journal. Taliban insurgency, he said. Now, keep in mind, Americans were losing 750,000 jobs a month at this time. And these guys wanted to keep it that way so Obama would get blamed for it. Taliban insurgency. I'm quoting Pete Sessions, Congressman Pete Sessions. We understand perhaps a little bit more because of the Taliban. Insurgency is the way they went about systematically understanding how to disrupt and change a person's entire processes. And these Taliban is an example of how you go about to change a person from their messaging to their operations to their frontline message. And we need to understand that insurgency may be required when dealing with the other side. In other words, us Republicans, we be the Taliban. He went on to say, if the Democrats do not give us those options or opportunities, then we will become insurgency. I think insurgency is a mindset and an attitude that we're going to have to search for and find ways to get our message out and be prepared to see things for what they are rather than trying to do something about them. In other words, maintain the status quo. 750,000 jobs lost every month. make the Depression worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And these guys voted no on every stimulus package that came down the road. Kevin McCarthy, Congressman Kevin McCarthy, number 3 Republican in the House of Representatives, he said, we got to challenge them on every single bill. We have to show united and unyielding opposition to the president's economic policies. No help for the American people, basically. Now, all of these guys, when Bush was president, had voted yes on the January 2008 stimulus. They had voted yes to bail out Bear Stearns. They had voted yes to bail out AIG. They had voted yes to the September 2008 TARP, and they had voted yes to the October 2008 TARP. All of them voted against every effort by President Obama to do anything even close to the same. They all voted for the 2 wars without a budget, without any means to pay for them during the Bush administration. They all voted for the top tax cut for the top 1% that ran up $4 trillion in debt. No way to pay for it. I mean, these guys voted for all of this thing, all of this stuff. They filibustered more than 300 bills, more than any other Congress in history. They voted no on every single piece of legislation brought to the floor, including Al Franken's anti-rape amendment, Lilly Ledbetter on the Fair Pay Act, the anti-outsourcing bill. No on increasing FEMA during natural disasters. I mean, that's how committed these guys were as an insurgency.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
They said they were going to use the Taliban as their model. Well, they did. So, are the Republicans meeting tonight? What are they planning? And what are your hopes and fears for the next 4 years?